Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. With Thanksgiving tomorrow, I wanted to share our go-to sourdough rolls recipe. These rolls are tender, they are fluffy and super delicious, and it's really easy, and actually it only takes about an hour to make, so super easy to make as well. First step we're going to do is we are going to add 240 grams of water. You're going to add it to your KitchenAid mixer bowl because I will eventually be mixing it in the KitchenAid. The second step is I'm going to add 10 grams of yeast. Now you don't have to add the yeast. As you can see, my starter is very active right now. So instead of adding yeast, you could just go with the sourdough starter and it should rise with that. But for me, I want to make them rise a little bit faster. So I'm going to add my 10 grams of yeast to the water. I'm going to let it sit in there for a little bit. And I want to see it will foam up a little bit and just show me that it's active. And then what I'm going to do as well, so that the sourdough starter and the yeast will sit in here, I'm also going to add 150 grams of my sourdough starter to the bowl. I'm going to make sure I get it right on, or very close to. Almost there. And we are there. Next, what I'm going to add is our cane sugar. And it's just a small amount to add that sweetness to the rolls. It is 20 grams of the cane sugar. And then I'm also going to add 1 large egg. Next, what I'm going to add is 50 grams of butter, melted. You want it totally melted in there. Next ingredient is we're going to add 12 grams of sea salt, fine sea salt. What we're going to do now is we're going to add all-purpose flour to it, but I'm not going to add all of it in there at once because what's going to happen is not going to mix very well in the mixer when I add it to the KitchenAid mixer. So I'm just going to add half of this. I'm going to add it and a little bit of time after that. So I'm going to throw in, this is 540 grams of flour, but I'm not going to throw it all in at the same time. I'm probably going to leave about this much left. I'm going to mix this in the mixer. So I just took it off the mixer. What you're going to want to do is you're going to pull all of this flour, kind of make it all go down so that everything is incorporated. Then I'm going to mix the rest of my flour in here, and it's going to be very thick. We're going to let the dough knead for between 5 to 8 minutes. The dough will be very smooth and elastic. So this is what the dough looks like after I kneaded it with the KitchenAid mixer. It was about 5-6 minutes that it took it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a little bit of all-purpose flour and I'm just going to throw that in there to get the dough out. Mix it a little bit. You also can hand knead this as well. You don't necessarily have to use the KitchenAid mixer if you don't have one. Just will take a little bit less time if you use the KitchenAid mixer, but you'll get the same results. Next, I'm going to take the dough out of the bowl and I'm going to put it on my floured surface. And I'm going to then use my scraper and I'm going to weigh, just take off, cut pieces off about 90. I'm aiming for 90 grams. Each one. So I can get 12 out of this. So between 85 and 90 would be your goal. So that one's 89. And then just keep your scraps and keep them to the side as you can use them up on other ones. That one's 77, so I probably can use even this one. It's too much. Maybe this one. Okay, so that one's good. This one, maybe the 2 of them. I'll do that one. So your goal is to get a dozen of them. You should be able to usually get a dozen. And we're just going to do this until we get them all. And then we're going to roll these in balls afterwards. But first we have to measure them all and we want them to be near the same. You want them to be even as much as possible. It will look nicer. And you want them fluffy. So 90 is a good amount. 90 grams is a good amount for a roll. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What I like to do is I want to put my dough, kind of bring it all together on the bottom like this. I want to make a roll, and then I'm just going to take my fingers, kind of the two sides of my hands, and I want to round it on the bottom. You can even do a little bit of tension on the bottom and then round it like this and then into a ball. If you are using a non-stick dish, you do not have to spray anything. If you had some avocado spray or some other spray, you're welcome to do that. This is non-stick, so I'm not gonna have that issue. But if your dish is non-stick, you are gonna wanna spray because you don't want those rolls to stick to the bottom of it. And then I'm just going to throw them around here. You want a little bit of space between them. You don't want them, or you can put them all together so they kind of, I prefer a little bit of space so they have a little bit of room to expand so they can get real big. It's my thinking is, but I've seen people put them all really close together too. It depends on the size of your pan that you're using, for sure. So here we go. So this is going to take a little bit of time, but not too bad. And then we are going to set these out for between 30 minutes to an hour. It's going to depend on the temperature in your home. If your home is colder, I know winter time, some areas it's really cold. If your home is colder, then it's going to take a little bit longer for them to rise. But if your home is warm, then it will not take any time at all. 30 minutes at least. You want them doubled in size and fluffy for sure. You want them so that they're puffy and definitely doubled in size. So they are kind of jammed in there, but so that's what they look like. They're gonna sit here between 30 minutes to an hour, and I'll be back after that time and I'll show you the next step. The rolls have been rising between 30 to 45 minutes. This is what they look like. I'm going to add an egg. This is 2 teaspoons of milk, and I'm gonna add an egg to this. Then I'm gonna mix these together. This is gonna be my egg wash. You want it mixed very well. I'm gonna take my brush and I'm going to put this all over the top of them. This is going to give the rolls a nice golden brown color. You just take a small amount. The rolls will be in there for about 15-20 minutes or until golden brown on the top. You want them to have a temperature of 190 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're not sure if they look done or not, just check the temperature, and if they're 190, they are good to go. I will show you when they are complete. So I baked the rolls for 20 minutes in the oven. They are 192 degrees. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some butter, and I'm just gonna lightly, you don't want a lot on there, just lightly put a little bit of butter on the top. This will just soften the tops up a little bit. Show you what they look like inside. Break it open here. It's very hot. Fluffy. They're very tender and they are absolutely delicious. I hope you will give them a try. Let me know in the comments what you think.